Hello everybody, this is a project of Igor Shavkunov and Evan Williams, and today we're going to talk to you about a few phrasal verbs. First pair will be look out and watch out. So for example, in America we go to baseball games, and sometimes when somebody hits a home run, perhaps you don't see the ball, and the ball is going right towards your head, and it's going to hit you in the head, I would say, watch out, or look out. That means be careful, something's about to hit you. Next phrasal verb will be come on. Normally in Moscow, people like to walk very fast. That's why when Hondurans come to visit Moscow, and they usually walk down Tverskoy with their Russian companions, they walk too slow, because Hondurans, they walk like Jamaicans, very slow. So the Russian always turns around and says, come on, walk faster. The next phrasal verb will be hold on. So the Honduran in turn will say to the Russian, hold on, you're going too fast. We like to walk slow like us. And they have a very slow walking rhythm. Next would be carry on. So if you're in the process of doing something like reading a novel, and perhaps a teacher comes and interrupts you, but then the teacher sees that, oh no, let him continue to read the novel, they would say, carry on. That means continue reading. The next pair we have get on or get along. And we use get along with, get on with. And so if I have very good relations, for example, with my brothers, I would say to people, yes, I get along with my brothers. Or I get on with them. That means we have a very good relationship. Take off. Normally when you get home from work in the winter, the first thing you do is take off your coat. And then in Russia, they go so far as to take off their shoes, and then they put on tапotchki. In America, the streets are so clean, we never take off our shoes. We even lay in our beds with our shoes on. You'll see it in the movies. Watch Hollywood movies. Next is wake up. Right now it's early summer, so we're in June. It's very easy to wake up early in the morning. This morning I woke up at 5:50. Why? Because the sun was shining through my window. Speak up. When a person talks very softly and you could barely hear them, but you want to hear what they have to say, you would say, speak up, talk louder, stop speaking so softly. Also, the Russians, like down in the metro, they walk so fast, they constantly say, hurry up, stay with me, hurry. So to hurry up is to do something faster. Wash up. During my university, I lived with 4 pigs, complete pagans. They were filthy pigs. They never liked to pick up after themselves. So they never used to wash their dishes. So we would have to play dominoes, or sometimes we'd have to play cards, and whoever was the loser had to do the washing up. So it would be to wash up the dishes. Grow up. Grow up has a few different meanings. I can kind of insult somebody, or I can kind of, not so much insult somebody, but it can be a kind of insult to say, grow up, to like a teenager. So that would be a type of punishment, a type of castigation, telling a teenager to grow up, because that would be telling them really that they're behaving like children. Another way you could use grow up is who you were raised with, who you grew up with, like in your neighborhood or your brothers. So I could say I grew up with my brothers, and I also grew up with several of my cousins. And then give up. I have a friend right now that I just played tennis with him, but he wants to give up smoking. And I told him that's the easiest thing in the world. Mark Twain said, giving up smoking was so easy. He's like, look at me. I've already quit 150 times. So that was a joke. I couldn't give him any advice as to how to give up smoking because I've never been a smoker, so I don't have any tactics as to how to give it up. That's what it means to give up. Next is slow down. I remember when my father was first giving me driving lessons, he used to have this Lincoln Mark 8, an 8-cylinder black Lincoln. We called it the Cat. The car was very fast. So whenever I was driving down I-95, I used to floor it. Floor it means I pushed down on the gas all the way and the car would really start to go fast. And my father would always scream, "Slow down, son! Slow down, you're going to kill us!" So that's what it means to slow down, to reduce speed. Break down. So I normally use this phrasal verb with the motor of a car. So my brother, his first car was a Dodge Daytona, and it always broke down. Every month it broke down. And whenever it broke down, that means the engine stopped working. So when your car breaks down, you have to get it fixed. Fall over. When I went to Pamplona running with the bulls, there were so many drunk people drinking wine that late at night they were so drunk that they were falling over each other. Just everybody falling over everybody else. And also there were so many people running in front of the bulls that they all tripped and fell over each other. Next, fill in. When you want a job or when you apply for a visa, you always have to fill in some sort of application. And by filling it in, you're giving them, the company or whatnot, the information that they're asking for. So you fill something in, normally a sheet or a report or an application. Put out. Okay, so I'll give you the slang meaning. The slang meaning of put out is if I'm in high school and my friend has a girlfriend, I'd be like, "Oh, does she put out?" That means, does she kiss? Does she take you to first base? Does she take you to second base? I won't even tell you what third base is. But if you want to know what third base is, you have to ask Igor Shavkunov. He knows even what a home run is. So put out, normally I associate with fire. And so if you have a fire and you're doing shashlik, like Igor and the pagans, they like drinking beer and eating pork shashlik. At the end of the night, you have to put the fire out. That means you have to extinguish the flames. Normally people put out fires by pouring water onto the flames. Next, cross out. If you're doing a mathematical problem or even a grammatical problem and you don't think you have the right answer and you don't have an eraser, you could always cross it out. That's like putting an X over it. To try on. My wife now, whenever I take her shopping, we pick out a few dresses that she thinks that she might like, and she goes to the back and she tries them on. You always try clothes on in the dressing room. Sometimes you can wear the clothes and then put what you originally had over the clothes and leave. No, it's a joke. Ring up. Friday night, you want to go out with your friends. What do? You have to call them all. So we would say, ring up your friends. That means call all of them. Look up. One way is you could look up, literally look up into the sky. But when I say look it up, I'm normally talking about opening a dictionary and looking a word up in order to determine its meaning and its part of speech. Turn up. Always when you hear on pop songs, turn it up, turn it up. What are they talking about? They're talking about increasing the volume. So if something is too soft, normally a radio, people would say, turn up the music. And they're speaking of volume. Knock down. Well, if we're talking about heavyweight boxing, we all know nobody can beat Klitschko. Why? Because he's Ukrainian. Ukrainians are the toughest people in the world. Even he's the best boxer right now. Nobody in the United States nor Russia can beat Klitschko. Why? Because he's Ukrainian and he eats salo and holodets. So what happens when Klitschko boxes people? He knocks them down. Why? He's too big, he's too tough. Bueno. Next is pay somebody or pay something back. This would mean to return money. For example, I'm usually very generous with my friends, so I always lend them money. But sometimes they don't pay me back. That means they don't return the money. And then throw away or throw something out. Normally, when something gets really old or it doesn't work anymore, you have to throw it away or throw it out. That means get rid of it, put it in the rubbish bin. And then knock over. This we're talking about some sort of object. And so like if I'm drinking tea with my friend and I have a cup and I'm very careless and boop, I hit the cup and I knock it over, then what do? I spill tea everywhere. Why? Because I knocked the cup over. Show around. Do you believe in miracles? I believe in miracles. This guy that's sitting in front of me just was awarded a visa to visit the United States of America. Unbelievable. If somebody told me today that cows fly over the moon, I would say, I believe it. I believe in everything now. The man has a visa. So if he comes to the United States, I'm going to have to show him around because he doesn't believe any of the stories that I've told about the great country in the New World. Drive off. Drive off is when normally you're in a car and you drive from one place to another. So you drive off. For example, right now we're going to visit Park Kuskovo. So we're going to get in the car, and as I see the car leaving, I say, oh, where's Igor? He's driven off. That means he's left. Come back. Come back means to physically return. And so you get in the car, you drive off, you go to the store, you buy what you need to buy, and then you come back. That means you have returned physically home. He came back. Turn around. Normally, if you're walking late at night and you hear something behind you, some kind of sound, normally people turn around and look behind them to see what's going on. Get up. I usually use get up when I'm talking about to get up out of bed or to get up in the morning. So if I ask my students, what time do you get up? That means what time do you wake up and get out of bed in the morning? Get by. When I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Ukraine, we got paid very small salaries, and the Peace Corps said you have to learn to get by. So even if you get paid $100 a month, you have to learn to get by on that money, with that money. Get by with that money means to survive and to live and to eat 3 times a day with that salary. Get by can also be used with language. If you speak German quite well, or let's just say you're in elementary, but you can go to Germany, you can read, you can order from a menu. So you could say, with the German language, I can get by. That means you could solve problems, get things done. Figure out, I normally think of mathematical problems. You have a problem and you have to figure it out. Or any problem in life, you have to figure it out, meaning you have to find the solution to the problem. Hand in. When somebody gives you homework, a teacher gives you homework, first you have to do it, and then when you're finished, you give it back to the teacher. By giving it back, you're handing it in. Hand out. This is the opposite. The teacher has the homework that he or she is going to give you, and before class ends, they explain to you what the homework is, what they expect, and they hand it out, meaning they give it to you to make up. Okay, so people can, this one has many different meanings, but I'll use it in this context. If a person makes up a story, that means they invent it. It comes from their imagination. It's completely fiction. And so a person that likes to make up a lot of stories is always just inventing things, and sooner or later people don't really believe them. Pick up. If I'm talking about a car, and let's say my wife works in Yugo-Zapadne, I can drive there and pick her up, meaning open the door, she gets in the car, and we drive home. So I'd say, I'm going to pick up my wife. Put off. I could say if I watch a movie and I didn't really like the movie, I could say that movie really put me off. I was put off by that movie. It means I was quite disappointed. Another meaning for put off would be like to postpone. So, for example, tonight I have to prepare a test for my students, but I really don't want to do it. So I'm saying to myself, I'll just put it off until tomorrow. That means I'm postponing it. And put on. Normally when you have clothes, you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is you put on your clothes. You put on your clothes that you're going to wear for that day. So you take off clothes and you put clothes on.